Okay, so in motion, this basically creative, this could be done for free in Superads. So Superads is awesome. There's a paid version that has a lot of benefits, including emotional language and using AI to detect hooks, all these stuff that's really, really time efficient and just saves you a whole bunch of work. But we'll start by just looking through how we use it. Now, it should be noted that if you're using something like Triple Whale, you could take the convertilize blended rolling benchmark option, but there's a little bit of a complication to it. Triple Whale has a really weird, and Northbeam, they all have really weird reports where they're usually downloaded into CSV or JSON. So that would require playing around with that and just making sure you're still shifting and finding a blended average. Or if you're just looking at like the last 14 or last rolling seven or something within one of your first party attribution models, you can just use that. It's a little bit harder since you don't get to see these types of views, but if you're just using Meta, this is a really good place to play. So if you look at top ads, you'll see in the last 14 days, you get to see everything sorted by however you have this organized. So the very first widget that you pop in here is going to be how it sorts. What I see is I like to see by spend. That way I can see the efficiency over time. So when I'm looking at something like this is only getting about 9% of overall spend, but this has a really good performance. So if you click into it, you can see that AI can analyze it, which is pretty cool. You can see like the value proposition. It knows the hook is facts. And some of these you can get more dimensional with the paid version, but for now, it's pretty nice that it can understand all of these things just by scanning it. You can also see performance, even though you can see it in the dashboard, you can see it here too, a lot more pieces than just what you have organized. Because if you were to add all of these pieces here, it would just be way too long. It'd be hard to see. But in here, it's nice that you can actually see the performance of any given metric that you'd like. You can also see the list down here, and you can sort if you want to sort by a different option. But this pulls in everything that you have up here, and you have the option to also change columns here, which is pretty great. So you can see the performance of your ads, and it's easy for reporting to just come in and say, hey, this is nice. This is something here where you can find out that cost per purchase is a little bit high, and the ROAS is great here. But this is one of those pieces that might be worth taking and moving into its own ad set because it does really, really well at a 3 ROAS. Same with this one at 4. So these aren't triple whale metrics, which this client uses triple whale, but it's something to consider and get me to look into triple whale and see if the attribution is in any way, shape, or form good. And what you can also do is you can duplicate stuff. So you can basically filter by a campaign, and it can give you a readout of something very easy to capture and put into a report and say, hey, here's the top performers. Here's a breakout. So you don't have to go into the platform and create all of these things. You can just literally take screen grabs from here. You can even use the dimensions here and AI to say, hey, this is what really worked. This one did the best. And you can tell that, like, it's got this experience, spot quality, skin therapy at home. It took that from the primary text, and the hook here is obviously urgency and scarcity, which is pretty cool. And motion triggers are joy because it's just reading the nice, really light color schema and everything here, which is pretty cool. And you can see the creative approach here is mood and imagery. So that's really cool things you can take to your clients, or if you're in-house or it's your brand, it's things you can use to reiterate on what's working. Another thing I like is ads by type. So this is great to look back and see like, well, carousel, image, whatever I'm using, what's getting the best results? So we can see image, we have a majority of image ads in this account because they're doing a little bit better. Surprisingly, and this doesn't happen often, video has a huge click-through rate here. So why we're still continuously producing video ads, even though they might not have the same ROAS by about, half a point versus video, is because this is our attention getter and this is our brand definer, right? And if we look in here, if we wanted to bring in, we don't look at it because it's image, but if we look at best ads and we look at hook rate and hold rate, it's going to be telling us that we're truly creating top of funnel audiences by having so much video in here. Next is landing page. I won't spend too much time in here, but you group by landing page, you can see, is there any breakout? Is this one working better than your brand page? Is it because you're sending it to like a review page? Whatever, you can always look at the breakdown here. This is a little uneven because some of these are not really our brand. It's like we're working with a sponsored brand that we kind of white label. So we can't really put that, say, hey, this is working the best and take that landing page and put it in our own ads, or it just kind of looks a little little scammy, to be honest. So, video drop off is also a really good one. You can bring in these metrics into any piece, but if you're just looking for video that has the best stickiness, these metrics, sorry, not any piece, you can bring them in anywhere, but it's good to see them just in video and just see, what has the best hold rate. What can you reproduce or edit or just change out the font? So, for instance, if this has such a good hold rate, so this means, 40% of people are watching this for longer than 3 seconds if they tend to, if they get served the ad. How can we play around with anything above or below it? Maybe we add a layer in the top or the bottom to add a call out, something that's a little bit different than just the closed captions. So it's something to work with. And then there's overall, there's headlines. Didn't want to miss this one. Headlines is great. You can see all the top primary text that's really working. I'm a huge component of creative over primary text. I think primary text is only accountable for about 10 to 15% of ad performance. I think everything is the eye gravitates towards the creative more than it does towards this. But it's also a component, so you never want to leave it out. But you can see there's not a ton that's really broken through here. Urgency, like almost sold out, works really well. Or save, obviously, like anything that, has a promotion built in, you don't tend to do really well. Lastly, account performance is what you can make anything of this. You can look by account name. I like usually we'll keep this by ad name. So you can see everything that then tends to be no difference than top ads. But I could look at campaign. I like this because you can kind of see just the breakout of what's really working over time. We can kind of come in here and see the breakout of how things look in each ad set, which is pretty nice for a quick view. And you can especially share this with a client. Well, that's really nice too. So you can come in and see the movement. So if I wanted to just isolate something like, campaign name, just campaign name contains Sandbox, which is one of our great performers. Now I get this through line where I can see ROAS over time, and I don't have to go and create this myself. I can just hover here and see this nice breakdown over time of how it performs. You can see this daily or weekly or monthly, but the only drawback here, even though it's free, so can't really complain, is you can only see one metric in this through line on this chart. So otherwise, it's a fantastic tool. It doesn't necessarily replace your reporting if you're being really robust with your reporting, but it accents it and it makes it so much easier than having to go in and pull screen grabs or anything like that. And if you have something you wanted to link to a client and say, hey, this is the top performer, you can always come in and just grab the ad and bam, the link is copied, which is really nice. And then you can always ask AI here for like, hey, why is this working really well? Which is just an industry breaker. It's really nice. So yeah, that's it. These are two really huge components to winning with ad buying to understand at a top level and then drill down and to see what's working. I hope you enjoy these tools. Thanks so much.